In this video, we will explore the incredible power of salt as a tool in spiritual warfare. We'll explain in a simple and clear way how to use salt correctly and effectively, so everyone can understand and apply this knowledge in their lives. Did you know that salt can be a powerful ally in breaking curses and attracting blessings? Jesus told his disciples that they were the salt of the earth. Stay with us until the end of the video to discover the deep meaning of this statement and the wonders that salt can perform as a spiritual weapon. First, it is essential to recognize that everything was created by God, through Him and for Him. Nothing exists outside of His will. This includes salt, which was created with a divine purpose. Nothing in this world happens by chance. Each element has a specific role, and salt is no exception. From the beginning of creation, salt was present, and God gave it a special function. Just as fire consumes and water gives life, salt preserves and purifies, being an instrument in the hands of the Almighty. Let's reflect on the importance of salt. It is a powerful symbol that has been used in various ways in the Bible. In ancient times, salt was valued for its ability to preserve food and even used as currency. Jesus used salt as a metaphor to teach us about our role in the world, leading us to question why we sometimes doubt the power of salt in our spiritual context. We should not let false beliefs prevent us from recognizing the potential of salt as a tool given by God to achieve His purposes. Throughout history, salt has played significant roles in various cultures. In ancient Rome, for example, salt was so valuable that it was used as a form of payment, which gave rise to the word salary. This practice reflects the importance of salt in preserving and valuing things, showing how essential it was to daily life. Modern studies also confirm the symbolic and practical importance of salt. Research conducted by Harvard University has shown that salt has antimicrobial properties that help preserve food and prevent diseases. This scientific knowledge aligns with the biblical view that salt is a means of preservation and protection. In the Bible, salt is used to illustrate various spiritual qualities. In Leviticus 2, God commands that all grain offerings be seasoned with salt, as a symbol of purity and preservation. This practice highlights salt's role in purification and maintaining holiness in offerings made to God. Additionally, salt has been used in purification practices in many cultures throughout history. In Jewish tradition, for example, salt was used in purification and consecration rituals, reflecting its spiritual significance. These rituals were seen as a way to ensure that acts and offerings were accepted by God. Let's also consider the role of salt in contemporary practices. In many places, salt is used in cleansing and protective rituals. For instance, some Eastern traditions use salt to create spiritual barriers against negative energies. These modern uses demonstrate how salt is still viewed as a powerful tool in spirituality and personal protection. Returning to the Bible, the use of salt as a symbol of covenant is evident in 2 Chronicles 13. In this verse, God establishes a covenant with David and his descendants through a covenant of salt, representing a lasting and unchangeable commitment. This covenant is an example of how salt symbolizes a perpetual and unbreakable relationship with God. In 2 Kings 2, we read about Elisha using salt to purify the waters of Jericho, saying, "This is what the Lord says, I have healed these waters. Never again will they cause death or make the land unproductive." Elisha's act is an example of how salt can be used to bring healing and restoration, reflecting its spiritual role as an agent of transformation. The story of Sodom and Gomorrah, described in Genesis 19, illustrates the use of salt as a symbol of punishment and warning. The transformation of Lot's wife into a pillar of salt serves as a reminder of divine judgment and the need for obedience to God. This narrative shows how salt can symbolize divine justice and severity. Historical studies on the use of salt in religious practices reveal that it was often associated with protection and consecration. In ancient times, salt was used to seal pacts and protect against evil influences. These historical uses reflect the ongoing role of salt as an element of spiritual power. In many Christian traditions, salt is associated with spiritual protection and blessing. The practice of using salt in prayer and rituals reflects the belief that salt can create a protective environment against evil. This belief is supported by various personal testimonies where salt has been used to bring relief and healing. Salt also plays an important role in traditional medicine. In many cultures, salt is used in home remedies to treat wounds and infections due to its antimicrobial properties. This practical application of salt demonstrates how its qualities can be used to promote health and well-being. In some regions of the world, salt is used in rituals of protection and spiritual cleansing. For example, in esoteric traditions, salt is often used to create protective circles and to banish negative energies. These uses reflect the belief that salt has special properties that can influence the spiritual world. Let's reflect on the importance of using salt with faith and intention. In Ephesians 6, we are reminded that our struggle is against spiritual forces of evil, and salt can be a powerful tool in this battle. Using salt with prayer and devotion can help strengthen spiritual protection and create an environment of blessing. Salt is also a symbol of covenant in the Bible, as seen in Leviticus and Chronicles. This characteristic of salt as a sign of commitment and perpetuity highlights its importance in building lasting relationships and maintaining divine promises. Consider the impact of using salt in daily life. Many people report positive experiences using salt in their spiritual practices, such as creating protective barriers and cleansing environments. These testimonies demonstrate how salt can be an effective tool for promoting peace and protection. The practice of using salt in prayer and rituals can be a powerful way to affirm faith and seek divine intervention. By recognizing salt as a tool given by God, we can use it to strengthen our spiritual connection and achieve spiritual goals. Salt is also mentioned in contexts of blessing and curse, as in Psalm 107 and Zephaniah 2. These examples illustrate how salt can be used to mark the earth and the environment, creating a spiritual impact that reflects God's justice and mercy. In summary, salt is a spiritual weapon that can be used to protect, purify, and bring blessings. By recognizing its role and using it with faith and prayer, you can experience the transformative power that God has placed in this simple mineral. Use salt wisely and with conviction, and see how it can make a significant difference in your life and the lives of those around you. The use of salt as a spiritual tool is not just an ancient practice but a reality for many Christians today. By following these practices with understanding and devotion, you can apply biblical and spiritual principles to strengthen your faith and achieve new levels of protection and blessing in your life. In Ezekiel 4, we find a detailed instruction about the importance of salt in purification rituals. The text guides us that, after making atonement, a young bull and a ram without defect must be offered, and these animals must be salted by the priests before being burned as an offering to the Lord. This ritual highlights the crucial role of salt in the purification and dedication of offerings to God. The use of salt as a symbol of purification and consecration is an ancient practice, reflecting its importance not only in daily life but also in religious ceremonies. Salt, being a natural preservative, represents preservation and purity, essential elements in worship rituals. When considering the money we offer to God, it is important to reflect on the journey it takes before reaching the altar. Often, the money can pass through various destinations and associations before being used as an offering or tithe. Consecrated salt can symbolize the purification of these offerings. If you decide to dedicate salt to divine service, you should do so with reverence and total dedication. The practice of consecrating salt for God should be done with care and respect. When buying salt for this purpose, it is recommended to purchase a whole package and dedicate its entire content exclusively to God. This reflects a serious commitment to the act of worship and the purity of the offerings. An interesting aspect is the choice of container for storing the salt. Opting for a new container rather than reusing an old one reinforces the respect and dedication to the divine purpose. The same principle applies to consecrated oil, which should be treated with the same reverence. Some churches still follow the practice of sprinkling salt over tithes and offerings, seeking the purification of these contributions. This act symbolizes the purity and dedication of the resources offered to God. This practice is based on Leviticus 2, which explains the importance of salt in offering rituals. Even though it is not a universal practice, many believe in the importance of purifying their offerings at home using consecrated salt. This ritual is seen as a way to maintain the purity and integrity of the work of those making the offering. The Salt Covenant, described in Numbers 18, is an eternal commitment between God and His people. This covenant demonstrates the durability and loyalty of divine commitments. Salt, with its preservative qualities, symbolizes the permanence and faithfulness of pacts. In the East, salt was a symbol of lasting friendship and mutual trust. In a study on the importance of salt in ancient rituals, researchers observed that salt not only preserved food but also represented the durability of alliances and agreements. This aspect of salt as a symbol of loyalty is evidenced in various cultures and traditions throughout history. There is a fascinating story about an American historian who, when lost in a dangerous area, made a salt pact with a thief to ensure his protection. The thief, honoring the pact, took care of the traveler and escorted him to his destination. This example demonstrates the seriousness with which salt was taken as a symbol of commitment and trust. Finally, the choice of salt in the context of spiritual rituals is not only about its physical properties but also about the symbolism it carries. In every grain of salt, there is a reflection of God's divine order and purpose. By understanding and applying these principles, we honor the spiritual significance of this element and use it to strengthen our faith and practices. In conclusion, understanding the spiritual significance of salt helps us appreciate its role in our faith practices. Salt is more than a common kitchen ingredient, it is a symbol of divine provision, purification, and protection. By incorporating salt into our spiritual routines with intention and faith, we can align ourselves more closely with God's purposes and experience its transformative power in our lives. As we've seen, salt has played a crucial role in biblical traditions and continues to be used in various spiritual practices today. Whether it's for protection, purification, or as a symbol of covenant, salt holds a special place in our spiritual toolkit. Its ability to symbolize permanence and commitment underscores its importance in our relationship with God. If you're inspired by the power of salt and want to integrate it into your spiritual life, remember to approach it with respect and understanding. Use it as a tool for blessing and protection, always mindful of its deeper significance. Your faith and intention will determine the impact it has in your spiritual journey. Thank you for watching this video. We hope it has provided you with valuable insights into the spiritual use of salt and how it can be a powerful ally in your faith. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more content on spiritual practices and biblical teachings. If you have any questions or experiences to share about the use of salt in your life, please leave a comment below. We'd love to hear from you. May your path be blessed and your spiritual practices be enriched by the profound wisdom that salt offers. Until next time, stay blessed and keep exploring the depth of your faith.